Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Shane Rosbeck with Fire Information Northwest Team 7. I just want to welcome everyone here today and those watching online. We have an operational update and an update to the closure and evacuation areas as part of the Gray Fire. First up, I would like to invite Seth Merritt, Operations.
Good afternoon, Seth Merritt, Operations Section Chief Trainee for Team 7. Give you an update on the fire and our progress today. Currently, crews are working in the Lakeland Village area. We've been doing some tree removal, some snagging, and some mop up around structures in that area. Up here, south of Campbell Road, the south end of the town of Medical Lake, city of Medical Lake, crews are working in the neighborhood that was mostly affected there, working on mopping up around those structures, and working trying to get 100 feet around all of them. Moving across the north end of the fire, crews are working on the edge, the fire line edge, working to mop up 25 to 50 feet in, trying to get that cold black for us. They're also working interior here on the east side of Silver Lake and working in and around these structures, also doing that mop up. Coming down Granite Road here, we did this morning, right before the rain started, the fire did get outside of the perimeter, less than half an acre, but there was some fire activity. Crews got on it quickly and got that brought back into the fire perimeter, and there was no additional losses. Crews are improving the dozer line all the way down around the south end of the fire, and they also are putting in some hose lays on that dozer line and plumbing it to help them secure it, areas where they can't get engines to put water on. Up here in Division Zulu, there's a lot of structures that need to be mopped up around. They're still working on that 50 to 100 feet right now, trying to get into all of them and get them mopped up. And then across the entire perimeter and interior of the fire, we are doing a structure assessment right now, looking to assess all of the structures that were affected, trying to determine the difference between the primary residence and secondary residence. So that's what's going on the fire right now. Thank you.
So next up, we'll have Cody Rohrbach with Fire Chief, District 3.
Thank you, Shane. Good afternoon, everyone. For folks who may not watch this live, it is August 22nd, just before 4 p.m. So certainly some good news today as it relates to the weather. Excited to see rain on the fire. It's certainly helping us to meet and accelerate our suppression objectives, getting that fire out, getting it secured, and as everybody knows, one of our primary objectives is to take care of our community and get them back into the inside the fire perimeter, back to their homes, and our other priorities to make sure we can do that safely. And so the rain has helped us with that, and so effective today at 4 p.m., so effective immediately, we are downgrading the entire fire. Everything within the fire perimeter is going to go to a level 2 to allow those individuals to return back to their properties. And then we're going to have roughly a 1 mile perimeter or buffer around the fire edge that will be at a level 1. But what we really want to communicate to our community is that it is still a hazardous environment. It's not always just the smoke and flames. There's still burning areas within the fire. You need to be diligent if you are returning to your property tonight. There's inhalation hazards from things that are burning. Yes, the rain has helped with that, but there can be hazardous materials associated with homes that have burned, and we need to recognize the individuals with both Avista and Inland Power for their incredible efforts to go in and also restore powers to those areas and also mitigate the hazard that exists from all those power lines being down. So all those things had to be managed to include access for the community to come back in. So we really appreciate the community being patient as we worked around the clock to make this happen. It's our community too. We have firefighters with properties inside that perimeter as well. We have firefighters who've lost their homes as well, and we have friends and loved ones in there. I have a best friend from high school who's lost everything in this. So we grieve with our community, and we want everyone to recognize that this is going to be a difficult night for our community. There's going to be the elation of being able to return back to their properties. But we also know we wanted to share some updated data as it relates to the number of structures lost. So we're able to capture some good information from our partners at Vista and Inland as it relates to the number of meters that they were unable to restore power to. And so we don't have the specific data of is that a primary residence or a shop, but we do believe that most metered areas belong to a primary residence. And so there was 259 at this point in time that they were unable to restore power to because of significant damage. And so we want folks to be understanding to the open this area, and I'll let the sheriff speak to it more, but we're really asking folks, if you're not a resident and you don't have property in there, please don't enter those areas. We still have a lot of work going on with firefighters trying to secure those areas. We still have more work to do around the homes, checking for hot spots. And at this point in time, we recognize that there's still risk going into those fire areas, but we also share with our community, and it's been a long time, and we want to get folks back. There's a risk with not going back as well, but please, if you don't need to be there, if you're not a resident or owner or somebody helping that family, we're asking you not to enter that area, because you're gonna hinder our operations in there, and you're gonna make that unsafe for the folks who are trying to return, as well as the emergency responders who are continuing to try and really mitigate this threat as quickly as possible. So we really appreciate the community's understanding in that, and we're certainly excited to see the rain. We're certainly excited to get our community back into this fire, but we also recognize that these are extremely challenging circumstances, and so anything our community can do to help us with that is greatly appreciated. I do want to highlight there will be one specific area within the fire that's still at a level 3, and that's going to be along the west side of Silver Lake on the southern end, and it's going to be primarily south of Lakehurst Drive for the residents that live in there. And so I'm not going to talk through the very specific boundaries today for this briefing, because what we're going to do is we're going to post accurate maps back to the social media sites again, and we really encourage folks to go to those sites, the Northeast Washington Fire Information page, Spokane County Emergency Management page, Spokane County Fire District 3 pages. We're going to have all those maps up. It may take up to an hour to move those maps, but we're working as quickly as we can to get that out to the community. So again, there will be a small area within the fire that's not open, and we hope that we can downgrade that shortly. So we appreciate your understanding. There's still what we'd say is a high hazard, extreme hazard in that area, and there's still a lot of utility work trying to deal with power lines. So even though some of the threat from fire has been minimized there, it's still a really challenging work environment. So we hope to provide an update on that in the near future. At this point, I think it'd be good to turn it over to the sheriff for some additional words.
Thank you. I don't know about you all, but I've come to appreciate Chief Rohrbach and his expertise. So again, Chief, thank you. It is a good day that we get to allow more residents back into their homes. It's been 4 long days, and not only for here at the Gray Road Fire, but also up at the Oregon Road Fire. As Chief Rohrbach stated, we have to emphasize, and we cannot emphasize enough, how important it is for the residents returning to these areas, that it is still a level 2 evacuation area, which means be ready to leave at very short notice. This is not a time to go back in and take back occupancy of your house and do business as normal, have barbecues over. This isn't that time. This is a time to go into the area if you have to, check on the status of your residents, make sure that you get things taken care of, but again, be ready to leave. Things can change. You see the weather forecast coming up for the rest of the week. Winds, higher temperatures, things can change quickly. I'm very pleased to announce, as much as I hate to announce, so maybe pleased isn't the right word, but we had a detective from the Spokane Police Department who was working the fire zone, and one of our deputies working the fire zone yesterday who made our first arrest of people burglarizing in the zone level 3 areas last night. Booked him into jail. 2 people, a male and a female, who were over here from Tacoma posing as firefighters, burglarizing our residences. I have to acknowledge publicly both Deputy Brooks and Detective Brandon Lynch from the Spokane Police Department for the great work they did. And a lot of the great work that all the men in the Spokane Police Department have been. As you drive through right now, see some of the perimeter units, you see a lot of Spokane Police Department cars and Spokane County Sheriff's Department cars, and even tribal resources here in the area trying to keep our community safe. We are going to keep those resources in the community to make sure that we can minimize or eliminate all the other potential crimes that might be occurring. I ask the public, please be patient with law enforcement. If you're stopped and asked who you are and whether you belong there, they're doing it to make sure we keep the criminal element out. We've already caught somebody taking advantage of it. We don't want any more of that to occur. People returning to their homes for the first time in 4 days. If you find that your home has been burglarized or has been damaged by something other than fire, I implore you, please call Crime Check. Let us know. We know in this particular case, we have a car where a search warrant is being authored and there's what appears to us to be a lot of stolen property in it. We can't get it back to you if you don't report that it's gone. So there are some successes. And again, this is very good news, but we need the public to do some very specific things. I'm also happy to report that we have accounted for all reported missing persons in both fires, both here at the Grays Road Fire and the Oregon Road Fire. That's very encouraging information for us. We are still going to be doing a lot of work. We're still compiling a list of the addresses affected, and that's going to help us with getting people involved with the right resources from the state and hopefully the federal government as they come home and recognize that their home has been damaged, what they've lost. That is part of the process that we're starting to move into. And we're going to use both the fire service and these teams here to help us identify those residences and start getting folks connected to resources. I think that's critically important. Again, I cannot re-emphasize enough how important it is that when people are going into these areas, if there are utility crews working and they have traffic control, which they should, obey the traffic control. Obey it. I had to, stop and wait for several minutes while a line crew was replacing phone poles and had trees down over a road. Be patient. Right there to keep us safe. So again, be ready to leave. Make sure you report any crimes that you may have been a victim of as the public moves back in here. And again, obey the level 3 evacuation zones, right? Just honor them. And not just here at the Gray Road Fire, but also at the Oregon Road Fire as well. I also want to reiterate for the public who's watching, these are 2 separate fire teams, 2 separate fire locations with different with different characteristics in each one of them. Because I know we have a lot of folks up at the Oregon Road Fire who really want to get home. And still a large part of that area is a level 3 evacuation zone. And they may be looking at what's going on here at the Gray Road Fire and go, I don't understand why these folks are all being allowed to go back into their areas. They have to understand these are decisions made in conjunction with the fire service, and it takes into account all of the factors that exist in that fire area. And the characteristics, frankly, are very different between out here on the West Plains and up in the north end of the county, and they have different challenges in both the types of utility service and delivery and the type of topography that are there. So I implore the folks up at the Oregon Road Fire who have been evacuated, please be patient. We will get you back home as soon as possible. And although it's great news for the folks here at the Grays Road Fire that they can come back home, but again, be ready to leave. I think, is there anything else I forgot to cover? Is anybody? Oh, and one other thing, and I have to say this again. If you have been displaced in this fire, even if you haven't had any property damage or you haven't lost a home, register with the Red Cross. Call 1-800-RED Cross. It is going to be a phone tree. Please work through the system and get yourself registered. You can also go to one of the Red Cross shelters to register. That helps us set people up with case management and get them connected with resources. So you don't have to have lost property or anything like that, but just register if you've been displaced as a result of either of these incidents.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good. From Spokane County.
So hi, I'm Mary Cuny, Spokane County Board Chair for the Board of County Commissioners, and I just want to say I am truly humbled to be up here. These people have been working tirelessly since Friday. This entire crew, I mean, the fire departments, the Sheriff's Department, police departments, Department of Natural Resources, the incident command teams. It has been a group effort to make this thing, come to the point where we get to get people back in their homes. But having been through a fire myself, you have to be vigilant. So just because you're getting back in, there are going to be hot spots and you need to be vigilant and be ready. Spokane County, we are now starting to look on the recovery side. We did our emergency declaration. We are getting our state and federal partners working together, and we will continue to do that. On the recovery side today, we are just talking about how do we have help with property tax relief for those people that their property values now have been diminished. And so we're looking at that. We're looking at what is the assistance that we can provide the Red Cross as people are trying to get out of the shelter and need to figure out how to get into some permanent housing. And then we are also looking at, for the entire county, as to what can we do to help rebuild. So working with our health district, working with our air quality agencies, as we start to have to pick up those pieces and remove potential homes that have asbestos in them. What can we do to help? And so we are doing that. And so just want you to know that at Spokane County, the commissioners are working diligent to provide the additional support that all these people need, and that the people that have lost their homes, as they go back and start to see that, what a devastation that is. And so I just want to say my heart goes out to all of you, and even the people that have a home. You will see, as I think you've seen images, where a home is standing and you had burned homes on either side. There's a lot of those people that are grateful that their home is still there, but then have that regret and that feeling of, wow, why me? And so just know that we are here for you, and our hearts go out to you. So thank you.
Thank you, and that concludes our briefing for this afternoon. Thank you.